Okay guys, we've talked about planting them and division now. Let's talk, there's two types of propagation we need to talk about. One is sexual propagation and one is asexual propagation. Now, the easiest way to do a sexual propagation is by seed. And the seeds, the bees will do it for you. The seeds are ready after your flower blooms and the seeds come on. You want to keep, if you want to keep the seeds, they will be ready to take them out the pods and put them in the ground. Generally speaking, 4th of July. That's a good time to remember. 4th of July, you want to take them and collect all your seed pods and put them in some media. I just put them in little, containers like this, one gallon pots, the same media, 50-50, some regular sandy soil and some high organic soil. Mix it up, and these are little seedlings that have just come up. The seedlings will come up in the first September, October time frame. When we have our first frost, you'll start to see the little seedlings. Now once you get the seedlings up and growing good, then you can transport them to 1 gallon pots, and the seedlings will coming from the seeds may not be exactly like the parent. It's sort of like us. We have two people, man and a woman, have a little child. They may look like the mother, they may look like the father, or they may look like the grandfather 5 times removed. So that's the way our little seedlings will go. They're not anything like the parent, or they may be very similar to the parent. If you want to keep the plant exactly like the parent, then you want to do asexual reproduction. And when you do that, the best time of the year for that is when they start going dormant, late August, September, October time frame. That's when you go in and you pull up ones like these at the bottom that are really tight in their pots or in the field, and you dig them up. And the way you will do it is you take the rhizome, and you will see they have a little offset, another growth body. You just take and pull the offset off, and you'll do the same thing as we did before. You take it and you clip it down 3 inches, and you put it in your soil, only about 1 inch or so deep. Now, if you have this plant, once it has this one stalk, it will not bloom again. So you're really not losing anything. But if you still would like to have more of this particular plant, and you want that little beautiful flower, okay, you can take this rhizome and you can cut this rhizome into about 1-inch pieces. And you can take this little rhizome that's a 1-inch piece, and you can also put it in the soil. I let these dry out about half a day to a day. They sort of seal themselves off, so you don't have to put any root hormone, anything like that on them. And you just can take them and put them in the ground or in the media, just like you would the regular plant, about 1 inch covered, and lo and behold, you'll have some coming up that look just like the parent. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, if you paid a lot of money for your iris and you love that little iris plant and you love that little flower, you don't want to take a chance of having a whole lot of different things in there. You want to keep the same one that you started with, and that's why you would do asexual reproduction. You will wind up having exactly the same thing as the parent. In order to have good garden growth, you want to collect any of these types of old leaves if they die off. It's a good garden to keep, to keep your garden clean. Another thing is, if you want to maintain the same plant all the time and not have any of the other types of little seeds grow, take those seed pods off early on when they first start forming, because you spend a lot of energy making those seeds for these plants to grow. And if you clip them off early, then you won't have any seeds contaminating these, and you'll have a lot stronger, healthier plant. Now we've divided this, and we have one rhizome in here, but when we do our divisions for the rhizomes, it's usually late August, September, October. And when we dig them up, try to get all the rhizome you can and all the roots, because if you just leave a little tiny bit of rhizome in there, it's going to come up and it may make a whole new plant. So get all the rhizomes up. Normally you have to divide these. As you can see in the bottom here, they get pretty tight in their pots. And after 2 years, maybe 3, whether they're in the garden or in a pot, it's best to divide them. It'll make the plant sturdier. You can put in some nice new media and give it a little fertilizer. When you divide them, get all the rhizome up as much as possible, because if you just leave a little, it's going to come up with another plant. Now, these plants have a lot of fertilizer. So, say when you first start seeing them coming up in the spring, and right before they flower, it's best to give them a little bit of fertilizer then. Some 888, something like that, will help them produce really strong flowers and good rhizomes. Louisiana irises are wonderful plants to grow. One reason is they're so disease-free. They're native plants, and we really don't have to do much in the way of disease prevention or treatment. I'm going to show you now some of the diseases and pests that you might have to deal with. This particular leaf has been chewed by a little caterpillar. I know because I saw it there. So that's a chewed caterpillar, and it's not going to do anything. Here's another little spot here, but you can see right here it's been chewed. The leaf has been chewed, but it won't harm the plant terribly. I wouldn't spray it. I wouldn't do anything. If you see the little caterpillar, just pull it off and let your plant go. It'll be absolutely fine. The next kind of disease I'd like to show you is rust, and this particular leaf right here shows some rust. And you can see the rust spots here. And then if you turn it over, you can see rust on the back of the leaf. This is a more seriously diseased one. This is about ready to go. If you see rust in your garden, it won't kill the plant. It won't hurt the plant terribly. Just pull those leaves off and just throw them in the garbage. Do not throw these into any kind of compost pile, because you'll only be propagating more rust. The next little disease or pest I'm going to tell you about is leaf miner. Now this particular caterpillar, I saw that little sucker out there on the leaf itself. So I just picked him off and threw him away. But this particular little caterpillar, it forms and it goes between the leaf surfaces. I don't know if you can see this, but it's inside the leaf itself. So spraying this or doing anything to this other than a systemic pesticide would not do you any good, because you have to get inside here to actually get to the little caterpillar. Now, this may be unsightly, but it will not kill the plant. So again, my suggestion is, rather than herbicides or rather than doing a systemic herbicide or pesticide, take and just cut these leaves off, throw them again in the garbage, not in your compost, and your plant will be perfectly fine. The last thing I'd like to show you is leaf pleating. This is not a disease. This is a normal occurrence on a leaf. When we have differential growing of the cells, we get this pleating, and it's perfectly fine. Don't spray it, don't do anything. It shows you have a healthy plant. So I just wanted to let y'all know that this is not a disease. Don't pull the leaf off, leave it alone. It's a good sign. Now in April, when we have lots of blooming irises, some of our people come out in the field and they want to hybridize or make new plants by crossing different plants. So I'm going to show you how to do hybridizing with a Louisiana iris. First, you pull off the falls. That's called emasculating the plant. Anyway, that is so a bee does not come behind you and pollinate with something that you want different. Okay? Then we will look here and we will see the styles, and we will see this portion here, which is the anther. The anther is the one that carries the male pollen, and if we tease the anther a little, we should be able to get some pollen. Then we would take this pollen and we would put it on another flower, the flower that we would like to have mixed with this one. And we'll pull this off too. And if you see, we have these little lips here. When the lips of the plant drop a little bit, you can take the pollen and you can put it in here under the little lips of the flower, and it will go into the plant, and it will go here and it will fertilize the ovary, and you'll have an ovary right here. This then we would close up, or you just can pull off all the leaves to make sure that we don't have any petaloids, anything that are going to come in the way, and you just leave this. And as I said, in about July 4th, you will have a pod here. See, a bee loves it. You will have a pod here that we can have new seeds from, and something totally different than either of the parents. So that is how you hybridize. If it's a windy day or a high sun day, it's not so good. You don't want it to be very wet either, raining. You can't do hybridizing when it's raining, because it'll contaminate the pollen and you won't be able to get the pollen to stick or go down into the ovary area. So try a day that is sort of in the middle of the day with medium sun and no wind. Well, I use these in the demonstration and they're a little bit worn out, but you can see they're beautiful plants. They come in the flowers are in all different colors, and you can purchase the plants over 100 different cultivars from the Greater New Orleans Iris Society. The Greater New Orleans Iris Society has people, members from all over the country, and we welcome membership. We would love to have you come to our sale. The sale is in March, the last day of March, like March 31st, and it's always at the Rainbow Festival in the Sculpture Garden in City Park. That's where you buy the potted irises. Again, we'll have another sale of the cultivar rhizomes, and you can buy them in October. Perfect time to divide and to have some nice new plants for your garden.